like 27 people here. So, and people are still coming in. Let's just start with some introductions here, and we can get on with the webinar. So my name is Ruth. I am the co-founder and COO of Bookkeep, and I am also a CPA and an accountant. So our company builds accounting software. So I'm the accountant that helps design these software. So I make sure all the journal entries are right and they balance, they go into the right accounts and chart of accounts. And our co-founder, Jason, he's a tech guy. So he makes sure he builds those things correctly. So we work really in tandem and work really well together. And we have Kellie Parks, who is obviously known by many here from Canada. She's a certified accountant, and she also is a coach. Bookkeeper, and she's also a coach and a savvy app user. So she's very familiar with the tech stack and everything. And we have Asim, who's on the Bookkeep team, and I'm going to let Asim introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Hey everyone, I'm the Senior Director of Marketing here at Bookkeep, and we're excited to have everyone here. We're going to be recording the event. So, in case you want to see it again, and for anyone that can't make it, I'll also be monitoring the chat. So if any questions come up while we're going through the event, please chime in there. We'll use the reactions to see, let us know how it's going. And if you have any questions, just please reach out. So we're excited to have everyone here and kick things off.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna let Kellie take, shoot questions at me, okay. And I'll try to, do as much as I can to show you guys what our Squarespace product looks like. But maybe I'll just give a brief overview of what our app looks like. So
I'm just going to jump in for 2 seconds, Ruth.
Okay, sure.
If people want to turn on their video so that we feel like we're more of a group together here, you're more than welcome to. If you're shy, that's cool too. But it's nice to see some faces. I mean, we're not doing anything in person quite yet. So to be able to see how you're feeling about things, or just feel like you are a part of this, because this is all about, well, it's all about Kellie for sure. But I'd like to make it about the rest of you as well. And actually, Ruth, can I talk about why this whole thing came about?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, so this all came about because of Kellie. Using Bookkeep for my own e-commerce site. So I have an e-commerce site where I sell accounting templates, and I was having trouble getting that integrated. I actually have a number of sources of sales. So some of them are integrated directly with QuickBooks Online. Some of them are integrated, but directly, and they don't work great. And then others are not integrated at all. And it's just like basically a manual entry or something that I got to remember to do. And so I started snorting around, and I tried a few of the e-commerce platforms to bring in my sales to my QuickBooks Online account. And then some friends of mine who are amazing with the app. So I want to give full shout outs here to some Canadians. And that would be Paul Burns and Sherry Lee Mathers and Tom.
Oh yeah, Sherry Lee.
Yeah, go Sherry Lee, right? I know she works a lot with Jason.
We love Sherry Lee.
Yes, and Paul Burns. And if I decided to check it out because they were having the Bookkeep Love go on. And so I checked it out, and it drew, so this is the thing, it drew in my sales tax correctly. But there were definitely some operator error problems, or as I like to call them, I totally stole this phrase, picnics. I had a few picnics going on, and that is problem in the chair, not in the computer. And so I wanted to know more about Bookkeep, and again, back to Kellie, I sell through Squarespace specifically is where I was having the trouble. And so in talking to these guys, it's like, well, why would you do a demo just for me? Why don't we do a demo in particular for the Workflow Watering Hole members, which is my Facebook group, or for other people with Bookkeep who maybe had questions around this. So here we go. that's where we came from. So thank you for doing like a group demo for us all, but mostly just so you guys know, Ruth and Asim do not know what questions are coming or what mistakes I'm making in bookkeep. So I have my little list ready. Okay, go.
Okay, so we're very casual here. So if you have any questions, feel free to put in the chat and Asim will pick it up. And yeah, we just, I'm just here to show you how the product works and answer any questions. So I'm ready for you, Kellie.
Okay, well, first, why don't you do a bit of a demo of how, or give an overview of why Bookkeep came into existence, what problems you're going to try and solve for us, and then let's dig into the product demo, and then I'll ask you the questions as they come up of where I'm struggling. And it's me struggling. It's not the product.
Okay, well, I'll just give you a little backstory on how Bookkeep started. So Bookkeep started as a, believe it or not, a bookkeeping service company, because we got into the business with the mindset that we want to find ways to automate bookkeeping. There are just so many opportunities out there. Bookkeeping is still a very manual process in many respects, as I'm sure all of you know. So Jason and I, we started this other company called ShopKeep. So we just got together and looked at bookkeeping, QuickBooks, and we try to build automation in various different areas, like, payments, invoice processing, front-end systems, and all of that stuff. So we did go ahead and build some of those, but the most important part that we discovered, and there's the biggest gap, is the multi-channel sales data entry. Right. So now if you're selling on Shopify, you're selling probably on Amazon, and you're selling on Etsy and taking PayPal payments and taking Affirm. And so before you know it, you got to get into 5 or 6 different data sources, right? They're just like, oh, you got to pull the data, pull the report, and do the journal entry and all of that. So we, as part of this bookkeeping services, I got really fed up with it and say, why do we have to do all that? And it's pretty easy to automate. So, I mean, I say easy, but it's still building software is not easy.
What? Building software is not easy?
So anyway, Jason and I got started building connections, integrations from front-end sales systems we call commerce platforms, as well as point of sale systems. That's also a commerce platform. And we summarize the data. We summarize it by day. So it's a daily journal entry that goes into QuickBooks Online and Xero. And we're building integrations to NetSuite and Intact. So eventually there'll be all accounting platforms. But this is at the gist of what we do, is that we summarize your sales activity each day, breaking out your discounts, the sales taxes, payment clearing accounts, and gift cards if you have any, and all of those proper journal entries on every item on the balance sheet. You got to capture those. And we do another journal entry that captures your payments. Okay, so if you have a expecting payments from Shopify, or well, in Squarespace, it comes through Stripe and it comes through PayPal. So there are some things that we do with that, and I'll go through that later on how we capture that data for you. Okay, so so one journal entry a day, summarized not by order. So we don't want to clutter up QuickBooks. We know that there are plenty of apps that will connect at order level, and if you sell 500 coffees a day, you got 500 lines of data in there. So it gets pretty crazy. So that's kind of the summary of our product now platform. So.
Okay. And I've seen some of this in action. So yeah, I'm excited for other. I have a quick question, and I don't know how we're going to get an answer on that. But are most of you users of Bookkeep in here, or have any of you been test driving them, or you're mostly looking for a platform for
That's
it?
a good question.
Yeah. So maybe put your hand up. So down in the bottom, you'll see something called reactions, and you can actually add a hand. So maybe put the hand in if you're using Bookkeep.
Oh, I see Cheryl.
Yeah.
Cheryl there has got her hand up. And Becky has got her hand up. That's good.
okay,
And Mindy.
okay.
is
So it
our-
looks
yeah, we got a few.
not a few, but it looks like a lot of you. So this is Ruth there.
Janice,
This
yeah,
is totally a fresh demo for a lot of people. Okay, cool.
that's good.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to jump into share screen so you can see what I'm looking at. I'm going to move some stuff around.
Ooh, nice desktop.
So, okay. So this is when you sign up for our product. First, what we're going to ask you to do is connect your QuickBooks. And then once you connect QuickBooks, we're going to ask you to connect your Squarespace account. And once you've connected both, you can see them both on this bookkeep platform. And this is where the connection happens, right? The integration happens. So once you connect your account, we're going to ask you to map your accounts. We also have one-click setup, which then you don't have to map the individual accounts. What we do is we'll create the accounts for you, the chart of accounts in your QuickBooks, and it'll be automatically created, or Xero. Well, I'm saying QuickBooks, but I mean QuickBooks and Xero. So because we are also integrate with Xero. So this is the mapping screen, what it looks like. You have the sales, you have shipping income, and you have discounts, refunds, and then gift cards is put to liability, very important, gift cards to liability, and sales tax collected is also liability. And because you take payments from, you process payments from Stripe and PayPal, these are individual, if you will, clearing accounts, right? And then there's any other payments that didn't fit. And then anybody that made a purchase with gift card. So this is the mapping for the sales entry. And if we click on here, we can also book your sales by category that are set up in Squarespace.
Oh, that's what I missed. That was going to be a question.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
There. So right off the top, it's going to bring in the data more in the way that I want it. Okay.
So
That's awesome.
So you have to come in and map it if you want it. If you don't map it, it goes all in gross sales.
Yes. So mapping was, I don't know where my camera is right now. I do know where my camera is. Mapping is one of the questions that I have where I failed because I decided I needed to control it. And I didn't control it very well. Okay.
All righty. Okay. So, so that's the gross sales category. And here's a sales tax. Now, you mentioned earlier, Kelly, that we do have Canadian sales tax categories broken out, but this particular demo account is a US account. So we break out, like you can see, the US New York sales tax, right? So if you're a Canadian QuickBooks account, I don't know all the categories for sure. Kelly, you can help me out here. The GST and the
exempt. Yep. So basically, in my case, I need to worry about HST, which is a Canadian code that's in a number of province. GST, which is into, and a shout out again to my Edmonton friends here today, is a code used in some provinces. And I have international sales, which are currently posting as exempt.
Right. Okay. So those, as long as they're set up in Squarespace, we will pick those accounts up through the API and you can map it to whatever account you wanted into QuickBooks. Okay. And then these are the clearing accounts, like I said, the Stripe and PayPal. And by the way, if you discover that, oh, I didn't really set up this account in QuickBooks, all you need to do is click on this button here. We can create your chart of accounts right here, and it will merge. It will merge into QuickBooks automatically.
Okay,
So
that's super fun.
Yeah, so we call this the magic pencil or magic wand.
Oh, that's a good one. Now, if I can actually just go with the best practice here, whether it's bookkeep or no matter what integration you are making with your, and I can only speak to the QuickBooks. It's not that I don't love Xero. It's just that my little brain can only handle so many GLs. So GL based apps. So best practice, run the proper series of reports before you attach any outside application to QuickBooks. You cannot fault an application for mucking with your data if you're mucking with the mapping, and then be upset when you've got a problem in QuickBooks and you don't know what the original data looked like. If you don't have a backup app, so if it's not QuickBooks Advanced, or you don't have Rewind on your QuickBooks file, at least run AP, AR, GL, trial balance. Let me know if I missed anything, so that you have an absolute point in time of what those books look like, including inventory. So make sure that the niggly accounts that you may be making changes to, such as inventory, that you have the detailed data of what the file looked like before you put any outside application on. It's not, you can't go back on the application if you're the one who's mapped it incorrectly and say, I'm gonna change my data.
Yeah.
Take some responsibility for what that file looked like before and what you need to do to put it back. Okay, lecture over. Probably
Ruth and Kelly,
day.
we have a question from our users here. The question is, can I use my own categories and not create new Squarespace categories?
Answer is absolutely. So when you sign up for the app, or there's a little step that says skip does, that says I'd rather do it myself. So that's when you just go to that step and you can map it yourself. So I know bookkeepers tend to be more, they like to have their own accounts. I think a lot of, business owner users, they're not well versed in chart of accounts, so they just create everything. But yeah, you do have definitely the option to map your own accounts.
So some people have words for bookkeepers that I'm not crazy on. So they would use either anal or controlling or whatever. I think we should all think of ourselves as JVP, and that is just very precise.
Yes, I think we're very detail oriented. That's for sure. You gotta be.
Yep. Oh, yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fine. That's how I am.
So.
Okay, so this is, I'm just so this is the sales entry mapping, and this is the payment fees. So because your payments are going to come from direct deposit from Stripe and PayPal, we're not going to see those from your Squarespace API. But what we do see are the fees. Okay, so what we're going to do is book an entry for your PayPal fees and take it out of your PayPal balance. So when you get the payment from PayPal, you're going to just book it to this PayPal balance account. It's going to net to zero at the end. It's going to net out to zero with the fees taken out already. And then Stripe works the same way. And I'll show you in a bit what that journal entry looks like. Any questions from this side, this mapping?
I have a comment.
Okay.
So I've been a couple of months in and I've been reconciling, and it is reconciled perfectly without me having to go in. I mean, I know everybody loves them, but I have not had to go into the deposit screen and done a negative line item and then use the wrong tax code and then had to go back.
Yeah.
So here in Canada, we have different tax codes that map incorrectly, let's just call it, in the deposit screen. Mm-hmm. So not having that issue and literally being able to reconcile my Stripe account to what the actual Stripe account balance was, has been fun in a bookkeeping kind of way. And I hope my family never sees this video and says that's fun. but I also, just while we're at it, because I would love to just throw in a couple of best practices on e-commerce accounting in general, and not that I'm a whiz at it, but I've got, just enough knowledge to be dangerous. I've been doing restaurant accounting though for a long time, and restaurant accounting can be very similar. And then you've got clearing accounts and you've got sales coming from outside sources that need to get entered. And one of the things that I see people trying to do is reconcile those accounts to zero. Don't do that. Reconcile them like they're a bank, because there is going to be a balance in your Stripe account at the end of the month because the money hasn't changed through yet. So one of the best practices is treat a Stripe account like a bank account, that there's still money left in it. It's not always going to reconcile to zero on the last day of the month. And it is something that I see some people struggling through, or they're not reconciling those accounts at all.
Right.
I took on a cleanup file that PayPal had not been recognized in help me out here, reconciled in 3 years, and taxes had been filed, and it was out by thousands of dollars.
That's,
So
yeah.
the best practice is, one, reconcile them. Two, reconcile them to the ending balance like a bank, not to zero. Because quite frankly, that's what I did in the beginning. I was reconciling clearing accounts to zero like some sort of freshie. I was a freshie. So it was an honest mistake. I don't want anybody else to go through that and try and back things up and then move it up to the 5th of the month and all that stuff that we do. Reconcile it to the actual ending balance in Stripe, Square, PayPal, yada, yada, yada. Okay, back to you, Ruth.
Hey, Ruth and Kelly, we have a question from Donna.
Yeah.
What is the workaround for a multi-use PayPal account?
Multi-use PayPal account. You mean like you use it for other purposes other than Squarespace? So PayPal is very complex, right? So we are working on an integration with PayPal, but there's so many pieces to it. You can have direct sales going into PayPal. You can have, the biggest complication is that people use the money in PayPal to pay their vendors and suppliers, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, as you said, Kelly, it's a bank account. They just, the money is there. Before they take it out, they use it to pay other people.
Yeah.
So right now, there is no automation that I know of out there that takes care of this problem. So we are building that. So we are in the process of building a full automation integration with PayPal and taking in consideration the expenses that go out of PayPal. So right now, it's just still very manual. I mean, I pull the reports, you look at the payments that go out of PayPal, and you book it to the right expense account. You just have to do basically transaction by transaction, which can be really, really time consuming.
Now, I could throw a semi-automation idea in there. And Donna, you can unmute yourself if you want, because I'm just curious, is this in QuickBooks Online or in Xero?
QuickBooks Online, but it could apply to anything, actually.
Sure. I can only speak to QuickBooks Online in terms of automation. And so if you, and you have to be very careful with this, of course, but if you are going to, some PayPal integrations work well as a bank feed in QuickBooks. And so you could take the PayPal and have that automatically transfer. So create some rules in the PayPal bank account and have those clear into the PayPal clearing account that Bookkeep creates. And that way, at least if you're doing cash coding anyways, if you're not doing cash coding and you're going to see those expenses in something like Dext or HubDoc, you can actually publish those through to the clearing account that Bookkeep creates. So those would be the two ways to create some, not data time sucks on it, is just like when the Stripe income is coming into my bank account, I've got the transfers going to the Stripe account that Bookkeep created to clear. Well, then you could do the same thing with PayPal and either automate the transactions through Dext. By automate, I mean, I do look at every transaction, but have them published through to the clearing account and so on and so on.
Yeah, that's what I do now.
Yeah,
it's more on the end of the craziness of the, I guess it comes down to the clients and their crazy actions that they do using their PayPal account. I just wanted to see if there was any, if you had taken into consideration any of that kind of thing. It sounds like you're thinking it, but it is very hard. And
if they're running personal transactions through, not that any of them do that with their PayPal or Amazon accounts.
Well, and
Yeah.
also the complication is that PayPal would take money out of your bank account and then
Mhm.
pay the supplier, right? Or the
Yes.
vendor. And then you could be double booking it because it's showing up in your bank feed and then it's showing up in your PayPal feed. So that's
Okay.
why, I just caution people when you connect your PayPal through your bank feed, just be aware of that.
Okay.
Okay. All righty. So that's the mapping. And now I'm going to show you, we have this thing called the log, which is a log of your journal entries that have been posted. So for this particular client, they don't have very many transactions recently. So these are zero, you can see these are zero amounts, which they don't post over. But they do create a record of it, right? And then, so this one is posted, and this is the journal entry that actually what this looks like. This is a journal entry that's created on Bookkeep. And you can see the subcategories that's picked up already. And then this is, this is same according to the mapping that we just did, right? So entry balances, you have expected Stripe, because everything processed through Stripe for this day. And then you can, these are editable fields. So if you find out that you changed something in Squarespace that didn't get picked up, you can actually just go edit this. And then, and then it will sync over to QuickBooks. And you can also, at the same time, you can just click over here to fix the mapping if it was wrong. If one of these things were wrong, mapped incorrectly, you come in and make the adjustment. You can just redo the mapping here.
Okay, so that's cool. So the mapping is sticky when you do it in a transaction like that?
Yes, it's just the same as the other one. So you don't have to, get out of here and go do that.
Oh, okay, that's fun.
Okay, so once you, make the adjustment, then you can actually resync it from here, right? So you just, you can just go resync, and it's not going to duplicate. Don't worry about the duplications, because every transaction has a unique ID. So it just overwrites what it was there before. It doesn't duplicate. So that's very important.
Very.
Yeah. And then, so you can see if you repost it, it's going to have another, it's going to have a 1 at the end of this. And then if you click on this number here, it's going to take you right to the QuickBooks entry inside of QuickBooks.
Cool.
And it's coming up because Zoom slows this down. So there you go.
So can I mention another best practice when you're working in some of these applications?
Please do.
Okay, because this goes for all of them, whether it's I love auto review or whatever outside application you're in. The ones that link through to QuickBooks Online have the QuickBooks Online to that. And maybe this is just total common sense, but I don't always have that, so it's worth mentioning. Make sure you have that particular client file open. So whenever I'm working in one application that directly links or directly relates to another application. So for example, I have Dext open for my client. I have their QBO bank feeds open at the very same time in different tabs pulled over on different screens, so that I am working in real time in all of those. And so that when you clicked through to here, you wouldn't then have to log in and then have it try and take you to the client file. Save yourself some time and work in unison or harmony, whatever you want to, word you want to use, in applications and in the same client at the same time. Right.
Yep, good point.
Learn from Kellie. Learn from Kellie doing time-sucking things.
No, these things people tend to find out the hard way a lot of times, but it's good to be on. That's why it's good to be on a demo, so you learn ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay, so this is basically the log. You can come here and you can check. Oh, was there an entry that was posted every single day? Yes, there were, and you can check if for something you think you wanted to go in and look at, you can just click right through. So this account has very few transactions, but it just works the same way. Okay, so that's the log.
Ruth, can you,
Yeah.
so first of all, we've got 2 hands up. So Janice and Joelle, leave your hands up if you actually have a question. I'm not sure if they're up because you were already using, whatchamacallit before, bookkeep, whatchamacallit. Boy, I'm a professional, aren't I? Can you delete a transaction from here? So let's say you go in and I don't know. I know that you post refunds, which is fantastic. I had an e-commerce client that in the beginning, he was using, don't ask, he had everything going on, right? And so I couldn't figure out why I wasn't balancing things. And it's because his refunds were not being recorded. And I see that you have the refunds being recorded. Thank you. I'm pretty sure not the chargebacks, but you have to be vigilant on chargebacks anyways, right?
Yeah.
Coming from the outside processor. But can you delete a transaction for any reason, or you just overwrite it?
You don't delete it from here because we keep the record here.
Got
You
it.
can delete it in QuickBooks if you ever wanted to delete it, and you can repost it from here, or you
Okay.
can repost it from here and just overwrite it. But if you, for whatever reason, you just want to delete that transaction, delete it in QuickBooks, and it doesn't have any impact here.
Okay, so a couple more questions then. So, and I don't know what the use case scenario would be on deleting it, but back to another best practice would definitely be, if you aren't balancing and everything seems good in here, it seems good in Squarespace, be vigilant with chargebacks, because that was the big problem we were having in this client file as well. So this is one of those clients, and nobody has those, right? I'm the only person that's ever had one that doesn't tell you all of the applications that they're using or what possible transactions could be coming from where. So missing information, I'm the only one that's ever had it. So, but that was chargebacks coming from a payment processor that I had not been made aware of. And this was a rescue file. So it wasn't like I actually was in the weeds of the bookkeeping yet on this file. Yeah. And so be aware of chargebacks though. And chargebacks, just in case anybody doesn't know, chargebacks are when somebody makes a claim against the credit card charge itself. So they are disputing the charge and it gets drawn out of the payment processor, but it never hits the e-commerce site because they don't have that two-way sync that now tells the e-commerce site that somebody is disputing a credit card charge. So make sure, one, you know what all their payment processors are, and two, that chargebacks may not hit the e-commerce site at all, at which point Bookkeep would have no idea.
Yeah,
right? Yep.
And that's very true, Kelly. I've had that experience with Stripe as well. And not everything syncs back to Squarespace.
Yeah,
so basically that's the reason, the very reason you mentioned earlier, to reconcile the account. You got to reconcile the account every month, and that's where you find it.
And reconcile to the Stripe bank account itself, if you will. It's a holding account, but whatever you want. We've got a couple more questions.
Yeah, we have some questions about reconciliations. Where Heidi and Laura are asking about bank reconciliation. So I think that's a good topic. So like, how do you summarize a day's worth of transactions to match up to the bank deposit?
Well, the bank deposit for Squarespace, the bank deposit is going to come from Stripe, and the bank deposit is going to come from PayPal. So you should post those to the PayPal clearing account and the Stripe clearing account, and then reconcile those. So it would be, I would recommend booking that as a transfer. So you transfer from, it's a bank deposit, and then it also goes into like a Stripe bank and a PayPal bank. So at the end of the month, then you can reconcile that account. And the deposit that comes in that hits your bank account is going to be, you can just enter that from the bank fee. But what I would do is I would build a rule for those deposits that goes into the clearing account. And then, then your bank reconciliation would just, match.
Yeah, Stripe, it's easy to create a rule that transfers it to the Stripe clearing account that Bookkeep creates. Donna brought up what the problem may be with PayPal though. Although it can go in there, although it can be posted as a transfer rule into the PayPal account that Bookkeep creates, you
Right.
again need to be vigilant that the expenses are going to the same place. If you're going to reconcile, the final reconciliation is going to be in those PayPal and Stripe accounts for sure. But
Right.
now
Yeah.
I had a client, it's kind of a different case, but kind of the same idea. They had, I don't know, they had 3 different POS processors. They had like 8 different lines of revenue, and they had 3 locations and we're building 2 more. So it was absolute chaos. And there were thousands of transactions. I rarely automate an actual transaction in QuickBooks, but because here in Canada, we have more compliance around our sales tax. So I want to take a look at them and have some control of them. But I automated those into a clearing account to finally try and make some sense of getting that. I mean, sometimes it can just be overwhelming that you're just going to have to call it a day and automate some of those transfers into that clearing account that you're making in Bookkeep.
Right, right. So yeah, PayPal is very complex, like I said.
Yeah.
And it's, it just right now, it just takes a lot of manual reconciliation at the end of the month.
Can we come back to Heidi's question though, too? So Heidi, you're talking about 100 coffees and 1 bank deposit.
Oh, yeah. What software are you referring to, Heidi?
Heidi, would you be comfortable unmuting yourself and telling us what you would like to see happen versus how it's actually going to happen?
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm, Heidi, that you are referring to Squarespace.
Okay, well, we can come back to that in a minute.
Right. So that's a question that would be a question that we get a lot for our Square integration, because a lot of coffee shops use Square.
Yeah.
And what we do know is that we summarize all the sales in one day. We get it from the API, every single order, and then we can refer you back to the sum of those orders for that journal entry. So it's completely transparent.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And does Bookkeep and Squarespace work in QuickBooks Desktop?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So so I just wanted to show you this fees.
Actually, sorry, Ruth, can I ask another question then on that vein that may help Elizabeth? Can you export a CSV file and just import that into desktop?
Not yet. No, we don't.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I know they're just file uploads and downloads for all desktop integrations right now. So it's on a roadmap, but I can't promise you when.
Okay, great.
All right. So so this is the journal entry for the fees that we talked about earlier. We pick up the fees, the PayPal fees, and take it out of the balance, the clearing account, and we pick up the Stripe fees, and we pick up the Stripe clearing account. So so really you don't need to, I mean, if you had, in the ideal world, if you had nothing else going on in PayPal and nothing else going on Stripe, your account will reconcile automatically as zero out all the time after every payout. So that's the journal entry. But I just want to, repeat that when the bank deposits come in from Stripe and PayPal, you need to build a rule to go into the clearing account. Offset that against the clearing account. Okay, so any other questions?
I have one.
Yes, please.
So customer data does not come in through Bookkeep, right? So if somebody wants that customer data in their QuickBooks account, GL account, if they want that in their GL app, that's going to be maybe a zap from Squarespace itself then, correct? But the sale is mapped to it.
Correct. We don't pick up customer data.
Right.
We do financial summaries.
Right. Okay. Just to be clear, because just so that people know. So if you want customer data, but not necessarily, so if some people use QuickBooks Online as basically as a CRM. That's their only source of truth of who they're dealing with.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, sure. And so smaller companies for sure. And so they can create a Zap that takes it from Squarespace itself over to, what do you call it? QBO, what do you call it? So that's cool. Otherwise, you're now going to be managing your client list outside in Squarespace itself. That's where it's going to live.
Ah, okay.
Right?
So can I just ask you why you would want your client data in QBO?
Because I'm nuts.
Oh, okay.
So, which I've realized is a really dumb system with e-commerce. It was working for me in all kinds of things. So like my customer data is coming over. If somebody books with me in Acuity and then pays for a session, that is an automatic integration with QuickBooks. And now I've got them in a number of locations, and then I'm nuts. So I got a Zap going to other places and yada, yada, yada. So we have a sole source of truth. But what I've realized is that that's different. Coaching clients I want to know about, bookkeeping clients I want to know about. But if I want to know about my template sales, for example, I can grab that information out of Squarespace. And that's actually been working better for me since I reverse thought that when I brought Bookkeep on. I thought, okay, yeah, it does seem silly to have it there because I don't necessarily need all of that. And a lot of e-commerce clients, that would overwhelm their QuickBooks files.
Yeah.
They would have way too many customers in there that they're not going to be extracting customer data from. And Squarespace is where my email campaigns are. So if you subscribe to my newsletter, they're coming out of Squarespace.
Oh, I see.
Already pushing that information into my subscription base.
I see.
So you can, if your clients have an issue with that, then that might be the thinking, is that they need to reverse engineer where they're going to send their client data, how they're going to send their client information, not data, how they're going to manage it, and that QuickBooks may not be the spot if they've got a lot of e-commerce sales. But what they're going to need to know is to learn about Squarespace and some of those other things in managing client relationships.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Okay, I just want to give you an overview, like if you run a report out of QuickBooks and how that actually matches up to, these are reports that I download from Squarespace. And they actually have pretty good reporting considering, comparing to other platforms.
Can I back up a second? Did this come out of Bookkeep?
No, this comes out of Squarespace.
Oh, out of Squarespace. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have orders, you have, you've seen this before, right?
Yes, I have. Yep,
okay.
I have.
All right, so I just wanted to show you how this matches up now in compared to your QuickBooks account after all the automated journal entries, okay? So we can look at, profit and loss. Squarespace sales is down here. So this is for the month of July. And you see Squarespace sales total $484. Those are the journal entries. You see these, we have specific journal entry numbers. These are Bookkeep journal entries. And it's 484 for July. And then when I compare to this report here, is the total is 484. All right, so that's the sales. And then you have these Stripe payment fees. I think that's what it is. No, is this? No. So that's July. Oh, that's Stripe. Okay. What's it sold? Square shipping income. Okay. 63. There must be another account.
Yeah, it's going to be showing in Stripe.
Yeah, Stripe. Okay, it's going to be showing Stripe. It's not going to be on this report. So this should equal exactly what's in Stripe.
And my experience has been, my limited experience, right? It's only been a couple of months. but it has been bang on.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So, and we can do like a balance sheet. Balance sheet, and you can see Stripe balance here is 505.11. And then Stripe balance, what was that?
Don't you love live demos?
Yeah, well, payment.
I've had so many
Okay,
live
there it
demo
is. I found
sales.
it. I found it. So
Okay, great.
I'm not lying. So this is your this is the Stripe account that would have, if you had these deposits come in and you booked it to the Stripe clear account, your account at the end of this month will be 0. You see, 505.11 and 505. Okay, that's why I wanted to show.
Okay, no problem.
All right. So I
We
think
have a question from Joel about, is there a way for Bookkeep to recognize if a payment is an AR invoice versus a sales receipt?
Well, we book journal entries. So everything that we sum up everything that happens in Squarespace, and we book into QBO as a journal entry, not as a sales receipt or not as a, what else could it go in? Sales order. Is that what did I answer your question? I'm not sure I did.
Can you have an invoice in Squarespace versus an actual completed sale? Is this something I don't,
Are you asking me or are you asking?
the world, I guess. I'm
Okay.
asking the entire world. Can you have an invoice in Squarespace? I didn't know you could, but there's so many things I don't know.
Well, that's a good question. Anybody want to feel free to chime in? Unmute yourself and chime in.
If anybody knows about Squarespace more than I've been mucking about in it. I don't know. I mean, it's a good question to ask if you can bring in. So basically, let's say that you could do an invoice, you're bringing in sales anyways, right?
Yeah, we just pick up from through the API the sales amount.
Right, but it's not going to bring in AR, although it won't tell you who the AR is for, but it does tell you if you've got an underpayment, correct? Because you're not going to have that same amount come through in the payment processor.
Right. So if you at the end of the month and if you don't balance to your clearing accounts, then you know something is off.
Right. Actually, I just had this discussion with somebody the other day. I can't remember what their sales platform is, but they had that problem. But anyways, stop talking, Kelly.
No, that's fine. It's good. Interesting discussion. You know, everybody, sometimes when you're like working by yourself and there's no answer and you're just like nobody to talk to, say, what do I do?
I think these kind of discussions are the best. Webinars and information is fantastic. Group discussions are so nice right now though, because everything is changing so much and we're not randomly seeing each other in the hallways at conferences or events or even networking things that you do locally. Go back up though. Somebody had a question about pricing. So Megan said, and I hope it's Megan, not Megan. So would you be able to talk about pricing and discount for firms? Do you guys talk directly to pricing here?
Yes. So pricing is on our website. And for Shopify and Square, we charge by the number of orders per month. So if you have less than 200 orders, the price is $9.99. And 500 orders will be $19.99. So I would say the bulk of our customers would fall into these two categories. And that's, we build in arrears. So you don't have to pick a plan up front. So at the end of the month, we actually count up the number of orders you processed. And then we just bill through whichever tier you fall in. that clear?
And it's US, just, we've got lots of Canadians on the call here, so.
Oh, you know, that's a good point, Asim. We should put US dollars on the pricing.
We'll do that.
Yes, it's US dollars.
Okay. Coolio. Is anybody, Janice, you still have your hand up. So is that just to ask a question or saying hi? We'll leave Janice then. Janice, either unmute yourself or put it into the chat.
Yeah. And while we're waiting for that, there's a 14-day free trial, so you don't have to put your credit card on file. Just try it out and see how it works.
Okay. Cool.
There's another question about like if you're doing a cleanup and have 5,000 plus to do in 1 month, you know, are there any options there?
Yes, there is. A good question. We post a lot of cleanups. The other day, I just had somebody that wanted to post transactions back to 2017. So we did. And the pricing on that is, you know, there's a little section here, post historical transactions. So then what we do is we add up all the orders for the period that you want to post. And if you fall into these categories, that's how much you're going to be charged. So if you have 5,000 orders for the last 2 years, then you will be charged $79.99. And then, but you know, there's a cap to this. So the cap is at $99. So if you want to post 5 years worth and you're over the 5,000, your max is going to be $99.
Cool.
Yeah. So, yeah. So anybody, this is, you know, we always get requests in January, say, oh, I haven't done my books for the past year.
Really?
It's everything. So,
Really? I just can't see that. So somebody wants to, if you could answer some questions on an accountant dashboard, client already has bookkeep. Do we have a separate sign in? Some of the, how it works to be an accountant or bookkeeper working hand in hand with our clients in bookkeep.
So yes, of course. So this is my accountant dashboard. So these are like all the clients that I have. Okay, so you would have the same thing. So if you sign up new clients here, all you need to do is add this plus sign, and then you can start putting in the client information, basically just company name and so on. And then it would ask you to connect the QuickBooks account. That's how you add new clients. And then you will see them all. Let's see, yeah. So, and then you just see them up here. So you have one login and you can see all your clients. Okay. And then you can also assign your staff to certain accounts. Okay. So like if you have another bookkeeper that's working on the account, you just add the staff and they will have the access to this account. They won't have access to your entire accountant dashboard.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
Right. We have another related question. If someone has a client that's already using Bookkeep, how does the bookkeep or accounting firm get access to that account?
Well, you just create your own account as a bookkeeper, and then you just connect your client's account to this. We can help you add, or you can just like what I was doing here, ask your client to go in here and add you as a staff.
Oh, okay.
And then it will show up on your dashboard. Okay, and we do have a partner program with accountants and bookkeepers, and that is that every time you add a client to any of our products, you get $50. So and then we keep track of it. We will provide you with a unique referral link. And when that client gets billed for the first time, that's when we know it's a paying customer. Then you will get $50 in the bank account that you put on file.
That's fun because in the United States, that's a really, really nice bottle of wine. Here in Canada, of course, $200 will get you a nice bottle of wine, but in the States, you can get a really Nice one,
Really?
50.
Yeah, $50 gets a pretty good bottle of wine here.
Yeah, La Crema or something fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you should come to the US more often then.
Hey, I'm trying. Believe me, I'm trying to get back there. Okay.
Okay, I think just took us a full hour. We're right up against 1 o'clock. We appreciate everybody's participation, and this webinar has been recorded. So we'll be putting that up in Kellie's Facebook group, The Watering Hole. And also we'll be putting that up on YouTube. We'll be sending a notification out by email to everybody that signed up for the webinar, so you can watch it online.
Yeah, and if anybody has any additional questions that we didn't get to, you can always reply to any of the emails that we sent, and then we will answer those directly. So we'll reach out to you if you have any questions there.
Oh, okay, great. Okay. Well, thanks for clearing up a couple of my questions. I mean, certainly you answered the big one for me. Sometimes I do this often. I think we all do. In hindsight, something is so obvious. So me being able to custom map it to where I wanted to go, I never noticed that drop down. Now, I was waiting for this session anyways to be surprised by things because I wanted everybody to get the full experience and me to ask the dumb questions. But, you know, in hindsight, things are always obvious, but not when you're in the moment doing it. So thank you.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I do that all the time. So right in front of my face and I can't see it.
You know what's a great one? This is a fun one. And now nobody's going to be able to unsee this. The FedEx logo in between FE and DEX, I think it is somewhere in there, there is actually an arrow. And I never noticed it, even though I'm a logo fanatic. I come from the branding industry. I love logos. I never noticed that arrow. I can now not unsee that arrow and feel like such a dork. Like, how could I not have noticed that? So that's my moment now on that drop down. It's like, how could I not have noticed that drop down? There you go.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, it was great to have everybody out.
Yeah, and I really want to thank Kellie for co-hosting this webinar, and thank you for all your awesome bookkeeping tips and best practices. I think we all find that really super helpful. And thank you so much, Kellie.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks,
we'll
Kellie.
look forward to the other series. Asim, you want to talk about what's coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple of other series coming up to talk about other accounting integrations that we have. So we have Amazon and Shopify coming up next. So those will be in September and October. We're also going to be covering Square after that. And then also talking about cannabis point of sales in December. So, you know, we'll send follow-ups to everyone here on those events. So we'll look forward to seeing everyone there and hopefully more people there as well.
So
Yeah, and before we go, I just want to mention that we are going to be at Scaling New Heights.
Right.
And we're going to have a booth there, and we're going to do a power breakfast session talking about what makes a good accounting integration and what are the mistakes. So Jason's going to be talking about that. And we want you guys all to come by the booth or come to the session, and we hope to see you all there.
Yeah, you know, everything willing, the United States will let me in by then. I was saying, of course, now as of today, we could get travel health insurance to go to the States. We just found out. But I just want to ask one question, Asim, for the cannabis one. Will you be sending everybody who registers a bag of Doritos for the session?
That's a great question. We'll have to figure that out.
Okay, so it's probably time for me to sign off if I'm going to go down that silly road, right?
I wish. Maybe. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Bye.